Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of NWF Fast Forward live, not just on the NWF YouTube channel, but now from the channel of Wrestling Revolution Keaton. Honestly, the best piece of media we have on YouTube when it comes to wrestling. Keaton is the best. He knows who the greats are, like myself. And let's get the introductions in. I am the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, the OG BIRD, and your main host of NWF Forward, the Canary Kid, and the man to my right. He is the co-host of NWF Forward, five-time NWF World Champ, which is, I'll give him that. He is an old man running on a retirement fund. He is Schmucker Crossen.
You better watch what you say, because now that Nathan kind of green lighted a possibility to get in the ring with you, you better be on your best behavior with Crusher Crossen. So you won't have a choice if that happens, because he's the promoter. Am I right? So best behavior from the Canary Kid. And Canary, do you notice that I've got the 5-time shirt on?
Can you pull the shirt up a little bit more? I want to just point out something.
No. That's enough. We've seen enough of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, because Crusher Crossen is, of course, messed up Morge. Schmucker Crossen, of course, is trying to censor what you guys see. I'll tell you myself. Schmucker Crossen stained the 5-time champ shirt with the design that the most ugliest haired man in professional wrestling, Ben Nelson, designed for him. So that just shows that even Crusher Crossen deep down knows that is an unrealistic drawing and that Ben Nelson has no talent.
Well, you can say what you want, but it is a beautiful artistic illustration of exactly what would happen if the Canary Kid messed with Crusher. I like it. You know what? I got more compliments on this shirt than any NWF shirt I've ever done. Can you believe that?
Because no one gives a crap about the NWF. The only important thing about NWF is the Canary Kid, the star of the show, and your main host.
And I'll say the NWF Championship belt, 40th anniversary of that nice blue belt. Even you said so.
Oh, great belt.
Also, Canary, I want to say this. We've got a bunch of comments coming in. I'll bring them in here, and then we're going to get our guest in here, CC Carter. He's our guest today, CC Carter from San Antonio Style Wrestling.
Great guest.
He's connected in here, and we got some footage to show. And this is a very talented young man, like the rest of you guys at that. I call you guys kids, but you're just young men. And the footage I've seen and stuff, pretty good stuff here. Hernandez is really doing well there in the training.
Yeah. CC Carter, very talented individual, and I don't know if CC knows, but of course I was the inspiration for his coach to start wrestling.
Yeah, I know. And you know something, just so you know, Hernandez is most likely watching this show for sure, and he's hearing this. And I would be more than willing to sponsor your rear end over here so that he can teach you a lesson in that ring down there in San Antonio. So I don't think the Canary Kid wants to mess with Supermax. I don't think that would be something that you'd be up for.
That's super generous of you. It's like a Make-A-Wish kind of thing. You're letting Hernandez meet his hero, and you're surely the Canary Kid. And the fact that you'd fund it.
Man, can you believe what we're hearing here, ladies and gentlemen? So let me get some of these comments in here quick, and then we're going to bring our guest in. Caden Smith, he's one of your students, Ricky, I believe, in the junior training, right?
Get to bed, Caden.
Hey, welcome in, Caden. I remember you on Caden's channel. It's great to see you here tuning in, and staying up a little late for this one, but it's not a school night. They can do that. Might be a little tired for training, but
disgraceful.
Let's see. Gizmo, one of our regulars, says, good afternoon or evening, depending on your location to everyone. It's great to see the Canary Kid back with us.
Of course it is, because I am the show. What do you mean back with us? There's no surprise that I'm here, but there is a surprise that Schmucker Crossen is still here. I've been talking to NWF management, and we're debating whether we're going to keep him on or not. He's kind of underperforming, to be completely honest. I might just get a Dixie Dave or Wrestling Revolution with Keaton, whose channel we are live on once again.
You know something?
The co-host instead.
It's just, I don't know what I want to do more. Make him submit or just drive him into the mat and pin his ass. But one or the other. Canary, sooner or later, you're going to face consequences for all the stuff that comes out of your mouth here. Now, I don't know. I've never seen this person. The 1 minute wrestler with Jesse Jackhammer. Maybe I have. I think I remember that.
He's a friend of Keaton.
Yeah. I think I do remember that name now. Yeah.
He said hi back to Caden Smith. Don't talk to Caden. Caden should be in bed.
And Sky Sports Video News says, I have a quick question for the Canary Kid. I see you have changed your wrestling attire. Do you plan on changing your fighting name also?
Why would I change my legal name?
Well, like,
My legal name is the Canary Kid. It is a three-way name. The Canary Kid.
yeah,
Why
but
would I change it? All
you're
right.
not
And
gonna
not just
be
that. How about you
you're not gonna
All
be a
right, how
kid
about we just talk
forever,
about this?
kid.
You're saying change my wrestling attire. How about you catch up more frequently? I changed my wrestling attire back in October.
Yeah.
So Sky Sports Video News. The news needs to be more
Elvis Presley
modernizing.
lookalike here.
Elvis
Kind of.
Presley look like you look at like as is pretty. Yeah, no, I'll just
Yeah,
stop talking.
yeah.
I'll
Good
just stop
idea.
talking.
Good idea.
I'll just shut up.
Sports Tech 117. Canary, I love the glasses. You wear them well. Yeah, just like John Lennon did. And what happened to him, right? Just like Daryl said.
And
Let's get rid of
back to
that
the
comment.
topic
Let's
of
get rid of
Elvis.
that comment.
Back to the topic of Elvis Presley. As I was saying, Schmucker, you look like Elvis Presley around the end of his career. And of course, the glasses look great on me because everything looks great on me. The same way even Crusher goes from a 0.5 to a 1 when he gets on the podcast with yours truly. I make everyone look good.
Yep. In the eyes of the beholder, folks. LA Crazy, CC Carter's his homeboy. All right. So somebody who knows Carter. We're about to bring him in, CC Carter in, everybody. So get ready for this. And then Tony Begley says, sunglasses indoors during the night. What's going on here? Yeah, exactly. What is going on here?
Tony Begley, shut your mouth. All right, that's all I can say. Just shut your mouth. I'm not going to give you the time of day some of those schmuck thinks they can run their mouth at yours truly. Moi. Just to get a little bit more time here, get off. Get that comment away, little schmuck. I'll
But
wear
you
sunglasses
really,
when I
you
want.
have a lot of, you know what, Canary, you have a lot of balls here to be talking like this. You realize that if I come over there, I can annihilate you.
On to the first part of that, I like the first part a little bit more. The Canary Kid does indeed have balls. He has the biggest set of cojones in pro wrestling, and that is what makes me the Canary Kid. The biggest.
Last time I checked,
Yeah.
birds don't really have anything to see. All right, let's get in with our guest here. Enough of Canary Kid. It's all been all Canary Kid's mouth here. Let's get our guest of the day, and I think it's time we bring in CC Carter, everybody. So, you know, something Smalls talks real highly of him. Everybody I've talked to talks highly of CC Carter that knows him, between Hernandez and Smalls and HBK. So let's bring him in. Our guest, CC Carter. All right, welcome in, CC Carter.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
Hey,
Welcome.
it's great to have you in here. You know something, I was saying on our last Rewind show, I said, you know something, I kind of, you know, because when you sent me the clips and stuff of you, I had to get everything ready for the watch along screen. I said, you know, he's very, very, very crisp. All your moves are just very crisp. And Smalls made a comment. He said, when Carter makes a mistake, it looks normal. That's a compliment when you hear that in this business. So
I will say, when it comes, like, there will be times I'll have mistakes, but I know how to fix it right off the bat.
Yeah. Because, you know, if you can make a mistake or a botch look normal, that's ideally what you want to do, right? So,
Yes.
yeah, so it's like, you know, and every, you know, mistakes happen. But so when he said that, and then I got to say, you know, I'm a big fan of the drop kick because that was my move. And your drop kick is as sweet as anything I've seen. It's very good. You know, Canary's getting there. Canary's trying to copy my drop kick. He's getting there, but you know, I just saying, for another, you know, U.S. boy as yourself as me, you know, it's a United States thing. They might have the Irish whip, but we have the drop kick, right?
Bunch of Yanks.
By the way, Canary, do you know how that started? Why do they call it the Irish whip? Why isn't it the Mexican whip or the American whip? Do you know, since you're from there?
Because we made it.
I think that's Canary doesn't know.
Oh, and also a lot of people, right? I'll actually education for y'all. I'm assuming when you think of an Irish whip, a lot of people think of whipping someone off of the rope. That isn't actually what the Irish whip is. The actual Irish whip is when you have someone on a wrist lock, you spin under it and you release it, make them flip.
You
That was the first Irish whip, and that originated here, and then the Irish whip just became a thing where you whip someone off the ropes, which was probably made by the Americans because you guys aren't the sharpest tools in the shed. Let's just say that.
It is an American thing to say. Let's call it the Irish whip. I could see that.
Same way every American calls themselves Irish. They're like, yeah, my great uncle was Irish. Or you have weird podcastos like Schmucker Crossen being like, I'm a Viking who's also Irish.
You see what I'm dealing with here, Carter? Do you see why I want to, even though I've been out of the ring for a while, I want to get him? Because he needs to be taught a lesson. Hernandez knows what I'm talking about.
Somebody's got to teach him a lesson.
I don't know how. If he wasn't 4,500 miles away, it would have happened already, believe me. But
also, you mentioned Hernandez, of course, Carter. Hernandez is your coach, and don't know if you know this, but I was actually his inspiration to start wrestling and stuff. So how's Hernandez holding up? How's the kid doing?
Carter, you've been in the ring with Hernandez, right?
I've been in the ring with him a couple of times, especially for like tag matches. It's the most greatest thing that could ever happen, especially of him being my coach. That is something that I could ever ask for.
Mm-hmm.
Even though like so much stuff happens in the ring, the most thing is I am like really honored and grateful that I get to share the ring with him, especially him being my mentor and my coach. That means like a lot. And especially he knows how to work everybody.
And he doesn't treat you guys like kid gloves either. Everybody gets treated the same in that ring. And you know,
no one gets treated.
But you know what? There's a sense of respect from somebody like him too. Like he respects you as much as you respect him. You can see it. And
he does.
And I see it in the training footage and stuff with him. And yeah. So Ricky, you know what we're talking about here too. I mean, you've dealt with it too over there, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
When you get guys that are training you that know what they're doing, I mean, Coach Nathan Hoy, he's another one that knows what he's doing in that ring.
Yeah, and of course, recently I've done a few coaching classes at our school as well, and it's been a great experience. And I feel like a lot of the people say I show them with respect, so that's probably where Hernandez got it from. Obviously, after studying me for so long, he starts to pick things up. So
he doesn't learn his lesson. You know, it's funny, Carter, you don't know this, but he was calling his coach out. You know, it was an angle they had, and he was like, I'm going to come on, you got to have a match with me. You got to have a match with me. Went for months after month after month. And finally, his coach gave him the match and kicked his ass. And he learned the lesson, you know? And so he doesn't.
Gotta learn hard shit one way or another, man.
But he doesn't, Carter, he doesn't learn. He keeps talking gobbledygook here. And now he needs to be taught a lesson from me and you and anybody else that wants to get in the ring with him.
I don't think he can match my speed though, kids.
Yeah, your speed is. Wait till we get to the watch along, you guys, and you can see Carter in action here. He's very. I love it. I think he really. Now, when did you start? Like, when did you start training?
For me, starting training, I started off in 2023 on October. My first match started off in November 2nd.
November of which year?
Getting my first debut. It was really unexpected, but it was a blast doing it. I'll say that for sure.
And what year was it? November, you said, of the year?
When I started?
Yeah.
The year, it was 2023, actually.
2023. So November. So a little over a year then you've been doing this, right?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So, you know, to be where you're at right now with just a year in, it's pretty impressive. And how old were you? How old were you when you started?
When I started, I was actually 19.
19. So it makes you about a little over 20, 21 now. Okay.
Oh, yeah. And this year I'm turning 21. So.
Yeah, going to be official. We used to say when you're 21, you're really now you're legal drinking age. You're officially an adult, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I know that the second my birthday goes off, there's going to be so many things that are going to go crazy.
And Canary, just remind me again, over there you can drink younger, right?
Yeah, as I was going to say, it's actually this year that I get the adult phrase because turn 18 this year, and that's when
18
you're legally allowed to drink. Yep, all that stuff. Though it's really weird. You're legally allowed to drink at 18, but you're not allowed to buy it. Like, you're not allowed to buy sealed alcohol until 21, but you're allowed to go to a bar or drink when you're 18.
Yeah, that's and over here I'm old enough to remember when the drinking age was 19. Doesn't mean I'm 75 like he thinks, but I remember that. But when I was here's the weird thing in the United States. In Wisconsin, if you're with your parents, you can drink in a bar at any age. It's weird.
That one I did not know about that one at all.
Yeah, that's in Wisconsin. Yep. But you have to
Well,
be with
you
your
learn something every
parents.
day.
Yep. You have to be with your parents, and they have to be with you all the time. But you can drink. Yeah. I don't
That's
know
insane.
if I've seen it a whole lot, but I remember that being the law. So now that we covered that, so you're a baby face, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You ever been a heel?
I was a heel once for a San Marcos show.
Mm-hmm.
It was, in my opinion, it was all right. There's some things I could just work on. It's still baby steps to me, but
Yeah.
if I just get more focused into it, I can get both sides of the heel and then still and
Do you have a preference? Did you like doing heel, or do you prefer being face?
ooh, in honest opinion, I rather most likely myself being a baby face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm too good to be like a baby face, and it's still it sticks with me to this day.
Well, I tell you, when you tagged up, we'll see the match too. But when you tagged up with HBK in that one, you blended right in. I mean, got in and doing the dance with them and everything, and stuff. Fans loved it. So
I saw him to do a dance, and I was just going to my head. I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not I join him in on that dance?
so yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. And I gotta say, Ricky knows this. I'm so envious of you guys today being able to start like this. We just watched a show on Rewind 2 weeks ago where we were in the infamous stages of the league, and it's like, man, we had such a horrible way to start compared to how you guys can start. I don't I don't want to talk too bad about it because I learned so much from it too, though, because we were doing it ourselves. But you guys have it better today than we did as far as the wrestling side of it goes. There's no doubt about that because you got proper guidance and training and everything. So, anybody out there, kids that are interested in getting involved in this, don't take the backyard route. Don't do that stuff. Try to find a training center or something. And you usually see indie feds and try to see if they got some kind of junior program or whatever to get started with, so you can learn it
And
right.
especially learn like the history behind it too. Like learn like their hit like the coach's history, search them up, see if they're
Yeah,
the real deal. That's what I did.
exactly.
Like when I first had Coach Hernandez and my other coaches like Coach Eric and stuff. I looked him up. Heck, I've even seen some of Coach Hernandez's TNA matches. I was really stunned.
Right. And that you're right. That's actually a good thing. Look into where you're going to try to train. Don't just say, "Oh, they're training. I'm going to do it." Make sure you know who you're getting in with, because there's not here in the United States. There's a lot of places that train, but not all of them are good. So you want to make sure
Some
you're
of them
getting in
will
with a
just like
reputable
just give you
place.
the baby steps and then let you walk into the Shark Tank.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Ricky, I've been gabbing away here, and I know that you're
as
itching,
always.
and you're probably wanting to. He's wanting to beat me up here right now because I'm talking too
Always
much. All
talking.
right, let's hear it. Let's let you get in there and get some questions in.
All right, no problem. So far, just over a year in, many matches you having?
The amount of matches I've had, if I remember correctly, I've had technically 22 actually.
It's nice, solid first year. And would you say you have a favorite out of your
Sure.
matches so far?
Favorite out of my matches, I have like three of them, and two of them, and two or three, and two of them, one got to go with the match against Abagon, and my second time I faced him in a one-on-one match, and the other two matches were tag matches, and one of them was revolving Coach Hernandez. Both, and it was Takedown with Coach Hernandez. It was me showing off Oscar Smalls versus Beautiful Bobby and Hernandez. It was cold, but I will say best match out there.
Yeah.
I will never get that chop though.
Oh, did you get chopped?
And
Chopped by
I'll
Hernandez.
be honest with you, it's worse than the code if I'm being honest.
That's brutal.
Yeah, I like the fact that he treats you the same. That's important. Unless you're a young kid, maybe that's littler, like say, like the little guys they got over there and the training over there in Northern Ireland, like when they get really small. But when you get to be a certain point, like Smalls, you need to be treated just like everybody else. You know,
Yeah,
that's
especially if you're like really wanting to like get into like that league as well, then you gotta know what's gonna come with it.
right.
Especially when like if you're taking a huge beating, like you're gonna get hit hard as you can. You can't cry about it. You just
Yeah,
gotta know how to take the beating and such.
yeah, that's for sure.
That's
And
Yeah.
sometimes you're going to get knocked around, and somebody's going to be stiff. We talked about that a few weeks ago, and it's part of the business in a way, and you just got to be able to, get through it. And that's not for everybody. That's why a lot of people, back in the day when we trained, when they trained you'd they would kayfabe you because they wanted to see if you're going to stick through it. They didn't even want to tell you the secrets right away of the business. This is back in the kayfabe days, because they didn't know if you were going to stick around. So and a lot of times guys would go through training not even knowing it's a work, and they find out in their first match. That's how it was back in the day, believe it or not. So
I'll say, like, when it came to training, like most of the things, like especially taking impacts and like hits that are like full impact, I wasn't expecting that first, but I knew like about the amount of times I've watched pro wrestling from like different like places, I knew that there would be a cost that would come with it. Like you're going to feel a lot of pain,
right,
and you gotta know how to deal with it, how to just take the pain and
absolutely.
still don't stand up with it.
Yeah, because a lot of people think, oh, the ring it bounces and it must be padding, and there's padding. It's not going to hurt as much, but you know, and we used to have that too when we had our professional ring. We'd have the neighborhood around, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's not going to hurt. That doesn't hurt." And I'd always have them come up, and I'd do a body slam or something. Body slam is a good one, because if somebody's never been body slammed before and they just want to see, they're not prepared for it. It knocks the wind out of you, and that's always a good one to
Especially how
show
you're
an outsider.
taking it too.
Yeah. And I would just do that
Because
to
like
shut them up, because I got tired of them saying that kind of stuff, you know.
I'll get told that line is like, people like, isn't like this and that. I'm like, you want me to do this to you and see how well it is?
Right.
Because I'll be honest, like I've taken meets from like Abagon, Coach Hernandez, took a powerbomb from Abagon. Let me tell you, it was.
Well, yeah,
I had to make sure I didn't get the wind knocked out of me. Some moves I've had, it has knocked the wind out of me,
power
and
bombs can be
sometimes
nasty.
it has made me like sore for a few days.
I've seen power bombs done by guys though that are just overdoing it, and they shouldn't be, and they're gonna hurt. They're almost hurting. They're gonna hurt somebody. You've seen those clips. They come up on Instagram and stuff. It's like, what the hell are they?
Yeah.
People. What we got to remember in this business, this is a work.
Yep.
And you don't need, and I don't know where these guys get off trying to do it, just outright, 100% like that. What are they trying to prove here? So, back in the day when a guy got like that, if a guy got really stiff or whatever and did something like that, they could get blackballed in the whole damn business. If you pulled a stunt like that, if a promoter got pissed. So, I don't know if they do that anymore like that, but I don't think there's that kind of network in the indie circuit where you can blackball somebody. But that's how it was in the territories.
Yeah, it's a lot of blackballing. If someone's going to get a mass blackball, no one ever gets completely blackballed.
Yeah.
Like we see a lot, like especially in the last couple of years, like people get cancelled for doing really out of pocket shit. But there's always like the like 10 promotions that I'll be like, well, still book them. Just get them in. So, but
But
you still
the
see a lot of
Carter's
them.
point though, and you too, Ricky, you got to be able to take it. So it's like there's a certain level of aggression that needs to be there, but you just don't want to cross the line where you're just overdoing it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm a big believer personally
Yeah.
in hitting your hitting your stuff pretty good. Like if you're going to hit hard, hit it in like a nice place. Like a game of a chop, you're hitting it right there in the chest. If you're going to hit a forearm, like hit it like just make your things look devastating, make them look great, make them look all this. But if you can do it without hurting the person at all, do it. If you can do it with only hurting them a little bit, do it. Make sure that what you're doing has the least amount of pain possible. A lot of people mix up intensity with just stiff or unsafe, and it happens all the time. You'll be like, show a bit of intensity, they'll lock up and you'll rip your neck off, and like they'll bring you a corner, like show intensity of your strikes. Next thing you know, you feel like you're actually like sparring someone because they're just throwing their stuff, and you're like, oh damn. Like people need to realize this. There's a very thin line, but they need to learn how to not cross it when it
Yeah.
comes to that stuff.
You mentioned chops. I can remember it, and a lot of times it's your fault. I've had people chop me, and maybe I backed up. They didn't realize it, and that chop goes from where my chest would be to my throat, and I get the throat chop.
Oh,
You ever had that? Or you get chopped right across the face because you maneuvered in a certain position, and there. You had to chop. I mean, that kind of stuff.
Like
Those are
when it comes
those are
when it
not
comes to chops, I make sure I'm prepared. I'm
well.
prepared for every
Sometimes
time I
it
get
just
to.
sometimes it happens, but those are not intentional. That's different, you know. But
Well, for me, there's a funny story in a match. I don't know if we watched it here, but a match with Brandon Jenkins, a guy who trains with us, and I think it was like a third or, but it was only had like I'd say between like 3 to 6 matches at this point. I mean, him are having our match. It was like a very last minute thing. The guy got told he was wrestling me on the day because it was on the build up to my match with Nathan, and Nathan was like, "I can't wrestle tonight," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we do our match, and we get in there, and he said beforehand, "I might hit you chop," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, cool," Guy's not that experienced. It shouldn't be a brutal. It shouldn't be a brutal chop. Oh my god, he near ripped my chest off with that chop. And then he went up for the second one, but I told him beforehand, yeah, get me in the corner, beat me up a bit. We won't plan like a hope or anything. I'll just turn it at random points. As soon as I saw him wind up for the second one, I was like, I ain't doing that again. That was a great chop, but it is way too cold. It's like frosty October night. No. So I turn it and I just start chopping like crazy. I'm like, nope, 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 just chopping him, and I go. And I go to run at him, and I'm like, um, move out of the way or something, and then hit me a clothesline, like something like that. He didn't hear me, but he fair play for him for not being that experienced. But he decided, and it felt great. He would move out of the way and just spine buster me in a shoot, and it looked perfect. But it was just out of nowhere. I was ready for a clothesline. Next thing you know, bang! Just got spine busted in the middle of a ring. I'm like, okay, damn.
Sometimes you gotta expect it unexpected though.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
We had a guy that loved to do the chop. This was right after Ric Flair made it very popular in the 80s, so that was kind of the fad. Let's do chops. And this guy loved to do his chops so that you'd hear it. It'd be that, that, and you'd hear it throughout everywhere. So and the guy would come back every time with a damn handprint on his chest. So it's like, but that was when that Flair started doing it, it's like everybody wanted to do it. It really took off from there.
Basically, what we're saying is screw Ric Flair, because now we have to put up with that.
Yeah.
And like every 5 matches, at least, there's always going to be a chop in it. That is, there's always, and it's even worse. See when someone comes in from an outside place, and I don't know what their chop is like, and I see them wind up a chop, my mind just goes, "Oh, this is either going to suck or it's going to look bad." There's no middle ground. Most of the time, it just sucks. It very rarely actually looks bad. It just sucks. But I hate it. Every time I see when I'm in a corner and I see my arms getting put over, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, okay, here we go, and then just
And
it's the
then
worst.
so LA Crazy, Voltic 77, Mike Brooks, all saying hello to you, Carter, in there in the chat. Damien though has a question for you, Carter. He wants to know what that belt is behind you there. He sees that belt in the background.
Oh, that belt?
Yep.
Oh, that belt is Universal title from Raw when they used to have the split titles.
University.
And
What was
I've
it?
had a lot of like I've tried other guys from like different wrestlers before I
What
wrestled.
you kind of cut out from us, Carter. What was the belt from?
My bad. So that title is the Universal title from Raw when they had the
Oh,
SmackDown and Raw title.
okay.
And I've had a couple of autographs from there too, from different wrestlers.
Well, that's cool.
That's
So you
cool.
got them autographed. And then also Sports Video has a question. He's curious. Did you wrestle? Print it in here. Did you wrestle in high school at all?
Ooh, I actually did not. I didn't wrestle in high school, but I did do like different sports like football,
Football,
basketball.
yeah. And basketball too.
I've even done like football, like bowling when we had the bowling club.
And what position were you in football?
In football, I played nose guard and defensive tackle, and mind you, I was like 185
I was gonna
during that time
say,
too.
yeah, that's like kind of small for that position. Must have been good at it. Yeah.
Actually, I've had competition throughout my years. Like, I'll say like my senior year when I had Westlake, they gave me a huge competition.
That's cool.
So
And then you played basketball as well. Okay. So
I did. I played power forward and center, especially at 6'2". It's pretty crazy. But I've learned from my mom, who she's a legend at basketball for Louisiana, New Orleans.
Oh, she is.
Yes.
So do you think having these playing sports, do you think that helped in wrestling?
Honestly, yes. Especially like for football, it's helped me out in a lot of things. Like I'm saying, like when it comes to impact and such, I'm like, okay, I'm used to it because in football I get hit blindsided or I'm making impact with the ground like crazy. So
Sure.
when it happens, I'm just like, okay, I'm ready again. Let's go.
And not only
Yeah.
that, but there's the team sports attitude, especially in football. You can relate that to the locker room uh,
Yep.
in wrestling. The fact that it's one for all. We're all in this together. It's a team effort when you do a show. So you can kind of take some of that teamwork that you have in sports and still apply it in wrestling as well.
It's like communication is always gonna be key. For like no
Yeah.
matter like wrestling or any other sport, communication is always gonna be a team and always gonna be the best thing that can make things go very well.
Well, and also like what I mean by that is, as you know in football, every one of those other 10 players on your team, you're all one. You watch, you're there for everybody, right? Same thing in wrestling.
Yes, sir.
That locker room, you're all in there together. You're putting on a show. Sometimes in the indie business, and we talk about this every show, I think, but sometimes new guys forget that. They get caught up in their gimmick and they're not realizing the bigger picture here, and that and they kind of go sideways. But after a while, you start to realize how this business works, and then that kind of goes away. But in the beginning, it's always new people, it seems, that sometimes lose sight or don't realize, get mad because they're losing all the time, whatever the case may be.
Like I'll get told a ton of stuff. Like when it comes to like my matches, like, I'll say like yeah, I have like more than wins, but at the end of the day, it's like I
Yeah,
don't care what
yeah, who
happens.
cares, right?
All I care is like
You're
being out in
having
that ring and doing good with my brother that
and
are
you're having
also out
fun.
there
And
wrestling.
you're having fun doing it.
Mhm.
You enjoy it. It's just, the win-loss thing is just winning and losing is just an illusion of the deal. It's the fact that you're in the ring and having fun and enjoying what you're doing. That's the payoff here. And
Exactly.
winning and losing, I guess, just the facade for the fans, right? Um,
Yep.
Gizmo wants to know. I was going to ask this anyway, but we'll just bring in Gizmo's question. What is the worst injury you have incurred while wrestling, if you've had any injuries?
Ooh, I'll only say I haven't had any bad injuries that were from wrestling. It was on from different sports, but worst injury I've had in wrestling was just me slightly spraining my ankle during like not during the show, but during training I sprained it.
It's
It
interesting.
landed
That's
under the
it.
wrong.
Smalls did the same thing with his foot. I think. I think it was Smalls that said that, wasn't it? Or maybe it wasn't
Mhm.
Smalls. I'm getting mixed up with Subforce Arnie. It was an ankle with him too. Yeah.
But like for me, it's like I've had like from like sports, I've always had ankle problems. That was my main problem. I've always had ankle injuries.
Yeah.
But once I feel like my ankle like have that problem, I'm just used to it because I've had it so many times.
Right. And Damien wants to know, and I'm going to let Canary get in here because if I don't get Canary in here a little bit, I hear it. I hear for it for 2 weeks. So Damien wants to know, do you have a signature move? Like a specialty move that you like, that's your kind of your move that you like to do?
Special move I like to do. That's a good question. I haven't really thought of one.
So you
I have
just
never really thought of one.
so you don't really have a finisher or a signature or anything like that yet?
Finisher, the finisher I use, I love using is the spear. Is like
Oh yeah, I know. We'll
especially
see that.
how much
We'll
I
see
be
that.
hitting the mess up people, especially with this shoulder. It takes a toll on them.
Yeah, that's in one of your matches that we're going to watch here. As a matter of fact, so we'll see that. And hi, Nicholas Watler. Good to see you again. Nicholas is one of our regular viewers that tunes in, so it's good to see you. Great that
Hello.
you're here. And I'm going to bring in Mike Brooks' question, but I'm going to get the watch line going so we can watch some of your stuff, and we'll be able to keep talking over it and everything. So now we're in the watch line stream. So this first one is actually a tag match. I think. Oh, is this the Hillbilly Kid and Carter? Oh, no. This is a little clip you sent
So
me.
this is
That's the, yeah,
it's me, Coach Hernandez versus
yeah.
Officer Smalls and his other Officer Davy.
For me,
Yeah,
I find it really funny hearing you say like coaching on this because I remember back in the day I used to just know him as Lil Sean, like back when he was coming through. in my ranks, and yeah, just to see how far he's came, it's a big deal. Really proud of the kid, how far he's made.
Like,
For who?
Oh, for Sean,
Who's Sean?
little Sean Hernandez, you know, little
Oh,
Sean.
Jesus.
That's what we used to call him back in the day. He used to
I
be
was
about
like,
yay
what's he
high.
talking
I
about here?
call him like I call him both ways. I call him Coach Sean and Coach Hernandez because like I'm respectful both ways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no,
I've always kept
100%.
that like me being respectful and disciplined. So I always like said coach or sir or mister. Or Miss. I've kept that with me a long way. So it's worked well.
Wow, you went like
That's awesome.
3/4 away across the ring on that splash.
Sean assisting the
That
pin.
and I was grateful for like knowing that how far I could go jumping, especially with like I have a good vertical in basketball, so it's like me thinking of how far they were. I was thinking like, yeah, I can get that.
Well, now this ring looks like a 16-footer, maybe 16 by
Yes, sir.
16.
It
So yeah,
was.
three-quarters way across, pretty good. That's pretty good jump. And small, that's Smalls
I
in
will
there
give
now.
also this, especially with like facing Officer Smalls. He's a good like person. He's a really good wrestler and everything. Never underestimate him. He may be small, but that man he knows how to pack a punch.
And he can take bumps like anybody else. Like he's no issue with bumping with Smalls. That's for sure. Look at that.
Oh my days,
And
Jesus,
That man, he takes a beating, but this man, he knows how to give receipts back.
great senton.
And I've felt it. I've gotten receipts from him too. So
yeah.
uh,
Now you're
he's
teamed
small
up
but
with Hernandez
dangerous.
here, right? Or in that clip? Looks like you were teamed up with Hernandez.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
This was Night Owl Bar when I teamed up with Coach Hernandez,
There's a
and
nice
we won that match.
nice drop
Oh,
kick.
gosh.
Now that's one drop kick, but you also do another variation of it too. That's more like the way I would have done it. That's coming up yet. We haven't seen it.
Yeah, like that drop kick there. I mainly like doing it because, especially of how I land.
Yeah, because it
That
come over
time when
exactly.
when I hit that drop kick, I remember I was aggressive like kick too. So like I can tell where I landed. So I was like, oh yeah, I definitely I packed a punch on that drop kick when I did it too.
People used to ask me how I got my height on my drop kick, and you know how I got my height to get my height up in the when you're in a boxing gym, they have those punching bags, the ones you hold, those big long ones. I used to have somebody
Yeah,
hold that, and I'd mark my spot and do standing drop kicks to it, and I'd keep getting higher than me. That's how I got my height. Just doing it in the gym with a punching bag. So now, yeah, I think in this match
I
we're gonna
mostly just have faith off my vertical.
see. This is where I think you'll do
Uh,
another drop kick in this match too, which looked really good. This is nice quality too. This video because I got this one from I think Smalls, so he had a really good like HD quality
yeah,
versions. But
small. Yeah, there was like different spots where either Smalls got it. I worked like post like Smalls had videos of it, or people would
Smalls,
like send videos from for both of us.
boy, Smalls just went flying halfway across the ring when Hernandez hit him there.
Also, there's watching him getting like having that happen to him.
Ooh,
oh my lord, he is just getting trucked. But I'll say like this: when I fought Coach Hernandez in a fatal four way, I've gotten this. I've taken that same thing, and the second I flew, I was like, oh, so this is what Smalls feels like when he gets chucked.
see the kangaroo drop kick or the bunny kick. We used to call it a bunny kick. I never liked that one because I didn't like doing the back bump. But I'll show you. Like you do a drop kick in this match. I think is the way I always like to do them. We haven't seen it yet, so watch for it. I think it's this match anyway. Just going by my memory, guys. Ooh. But you guys got padding around the ring, right? Yeah, looks like it.
Yes, sir. Especially from we make sure we make sure.
Smiles giving a little chops himself there, huh?
even Smalls, like he has crazy chops too. 'Cause I've taken chops from him. Ooh, let me tell you, he sometimes leaves marks on my chest when he does it.
Nice missile drop kick. I wonder where that footage went. I see the little guy here. He's one of your other young trainers. I forget his name, but he's filming it around the ring. I've seen him in the training sessions now.
Oh God.
I didn't, and that part I didn't even like that, and he landed right in that rope. I was too recovered. I know I hit hard.
Carter's on the top rope here. That's a nice splash.
If I'll say that splash is one of my favorite ones. And no matter how many times I do it, I'll forever say, "Ooh, I'm finna go in for a crash landing really well." Because like there was a show that was another tag match I was with Coach Hernandez, and it was a 6-man tag match, and we all did a splash. I was the first one that did it. The second I made impact, because I held my breath, which I shouldn't have done, my ribs were just feeling it for 2 weeks.
Yeah. I see you got a face mask on. Is this during COVID?
Oh no, this is this was an old fit I used to have. I used to have that.
Oh, that was just like a mask. That
I thought about like maybe I could change up a little bit.
Okay.
I actually still have it with me too, which is crazy.
Crusher, did you really say was this? Did you really say was this during COVID? Even though he said he started.
I know that's why it doesn't make sense. That's why I was wondering. Because it looks like a COVID mask, you know, kind of from a distance.
Because like, I mean, it looks like it's blocked off, but I was able to breathe through it. It was breathable, so.
Do you like teaming up with Hillbilly Kid?
It was fun. It is fun teaming up with Hillbilly. I've never gotten tired of like teaming with him.
Yeah.
I've had like fun times where we've teamed up, and especially like that part where he's dancing, and I join in.
Yeah.
And that's the most funnest part of like when we team up.
Yeah, you guys have good chemistry as a team too.
We do. We've like, 'cause we know how to work in the ring when we get the chance. Every time if we mess up, we both know how to fix up.
So Mike Brooks,
just like that.
Carter, remember I told you Mike Brooks had a question? Here it is. Carter, do you have a dream match? Like anybody, that could be anybody. Besides Crusher Crossen. Crusher Crossen's everybody's dream match. We have to leave that one out. But anybody else, right?
If I gotta be honest, I have like a couple, especially with people like wrestlers I've seen and I've got to meet from like TNA and such. Oof, if I gotta pick like one person in particular, it would be an honor to like either Jeff Hardy or Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
that's two I'd maybe put right there. Third would be Kenny Omega. If that could ever happen. Those are my like 3 dream matches that
I'd like to have one of these days. Have you ever met any of those guys?
I actually got to meet Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
And it was really nice meeting him. Meeting Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy.
That's right. That's right. They came. That was just recent, right? When they came up through there.
It sure actually was.
Yeah. I can remember Smalls had a picture with him. I think. Yeah.
Especially I've got to shake his hand, talk to him. Especially I've watched him as like a kid too. So if I've looked up him. He's one of the people that I have looked up.
Yeah.
A lot of things. There's a lot of things that go on, especially like getting to meet a lot of like people that you've always wanted to meet. It's a shocker when it happens, but at the end of the day, you know, like this is hey, it's a dream come true. But hey, you can make your own like history if you just get the job right.
And then I
Get
guess
everything.
this question, Carter, kind of already answered, I guess, in a way. Is there any special WWE wrestler you'd like to meet? I guess that'd be Cody Rhodes then, right? Out of that list?
And Cody Rhodes, or in particular Kofi Kingston. Kofi
Yeah.
Kingston was actually one of the first people, like Kofi Kingston or John Cena. They're the first two people I ever watched, and I'll say I got addicted to. So,
Canary, why don't you get some questions? And I know I'm hogging it from you, and you're going to get mad at me.
As always, what a shock, Schmucker Crossen. Hogs the whole show, just yapping. Anyway, so you mentioned Kofi Kingston there. Do you think he inspired some of your style?
yes, sir, it has. I've
Yeah.
learned some of his style from how he has wrestled, and I take a little bit from his and like see if I can try to practice it if I ever can. And once I get the hang of it, we're rolling.
Like how you asked the
Right.
crowd.
Yep.
Because, yeah, I've been watching you here, and I was like, there's someone he reminds me of. And I was trying to think, and then you brought up Kofi Kingston. I'm like, that's exactly who it was. I was like, that is exactly who I'm getting vibes of. It's because, like, you've got, like, the natural kind of charisma without having to, like, talk a lot. You just have, like, the natural movements of charisma, and I'm like, there's something there, and, like, how you're hitting the moves, I'm like, there's something.
There's that.
What is it?
Kick.
Yeah, it was Kofi. Perfect. Yeah, it was a great drop kick.
And I think,
I'm proud
watch,
of my
guys, this is the match he does the spear, too. So watch that coming up. That spear is coming up here. You mentioned the spear.
I've got a lot of credit about my spear. Like, no matter how many times I show up here, I've gotten a ton of credit for it. Like, people like, oh, snap, you hit the breaks off him or so.
And this guy in the ring with HBK, he's one of the trainers, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if I remember correctly.
He's a really good coach.
Yep, one of the coaches.
He's also taught me. He was actually my first match on November 2nd, and he's taught me a lot of good things. So I'm also grateful to have him as well. Nothing more than like also like get him being my mentor and my coach. But coach, he doesn't hold back his dude.
I'm hearing like a live commentating. Do you guys do that on shows a lot? Like audience for the audience?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay.
Most times we do live commentary when we do our shows.
Okay.
Nice.
We didn't do it as much often, but we're doing a lot more, if I remember correctly.
And how many people do you usually have at these shows?
I can't remember in particular, but I know like some shows we're sometimes we have shows that are packed up, say like San Marcos.
Say 100, 200 people sometimes.
I think I can't remember from the top of my head exactly. Yeah. So that's what sucks.
I mean, just judging by the crowds I've seen, I'd say around 100 at least. In some of those shows, if not more.
If like in San Marcos, I love wrestling in San Marcos. Like we have a ton of people.
Yeah.
And, oh my lord, they go crazy every time. The tag match I had with Kevin Price against Joey Spector, Coach Joey Spector, and Beautiful Bobby, they were just going on crazy.
And HBK needs to tag Carter in here. Let me just bring another question in. I don't think I brought this one in. Nicholas Watler says, how much training does Carter do monthly? Like how many times do you train? Or how much? How many days?
We usually like, when I train, I haven't been able to train much because I've been busy a lot lately. But I've been trying to get like mentally reps in as much as I can because I know I haven't been training. But we're already fixing everything up for training a lot more. And to it, like the moment I get a chance to like train, I always give it my 110%. Like when I do.
Yeah.
Normally it's like I'd say like Thursday and Tuesday to Thursday, and then other days when we requested like, hey,
Here,
like,
here
we
comes that
be able to
spear,
train
you
this day. We
guys.
didn't see it.
Sorry to interrupt you, Carter, but I wanted to make sure you see your spear.
Yes, sir.
Boom! Like the Goldberg spear.
Bam.
Nice. I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
No, you good. I will never get over my spirit. I love it. No, like I'll tell everybody, it's like, if you give me the chance to spear you, I'll make it count. That's the best thing in the world. I've gotten a lot of good credit and goods about like my spears, and I know some things I need to work on it with it still. But I know like I can tell if I've hit like a hard spear because I feel it all in this arm strictly.
Yeah.
And some like student show I had a student show and I hit a spear hard and I felt my arm. I'm like, is my arm good? So I'm moving it after the match. I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. I just hit him too hard.
You have to imagine how he felt then, huh? So,
Yes, sir.
but yeah, that was nice. That's very, like one thing I noticed with all your moves, everything's crisp. Everything's, very, very, very clean in all your moves and everything. Sports video, this is a comment he had earlier on some of the stuff we were watching. He said, that was a full out assault on Smalls when he got thrown by his neck out of the ring. He must be one tough kid.
He is. I will say it honestly. He is one tough kid. And to me, he's like a brother to me. And
Yeah.
I'm no matter how many times he be getting dropped on that mat or taking the hardest hit, he is back up on his feet. Is like, all right, let's go. We continue. I want to get my ones in. And
Yeah.
it to this day, I can't say how much I'm proud of him. I'm really proud of how much he's gotten, especially at how where he's at.
Yes.
It shocks me.
Yeah, he's young. And just think if he keeps going at the rate he's going and stuff when he gets to be your age, even, just think how much
Oh
experience he'll
yeah.
have, right?
All I'm saying is let him get taller. I'm praying that he gets taller because if
Yeah.
he gets close to my height, he's killing it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Caden Smith, we see you again. He's just saying hello again. He's one of Ricky's junior trainers over there.
Hey, kid, and go to sleep.
He's enjoying the show,
Jesus.
so he's up. And then, of course, there's Dixie Dave. He has to chime in and make himself present. These two got a love affair right now, him and Ricky. So he's turned him into a heel
That's
on me
real,
now.
David.
I used to get along with
Imagine.
Dave for 2.5 years. We got along just fine. I've known him 40 years. Now, this menace over here on the far side of the screen has made this guy a heel on me all of a sudden. So,
Dang.
and then he also said this. He said, Ricky, I know what the Schmucker Hogney show. Goodbye.
Exactly. He gets it. The
Um,
absolute schmucker crossing he is. Hogs the entire show. You know, me and Cece, two wrestling stars of the modern era, trying to, give the people what they want. And then you just have this guy. This guy.
yeah, this guy
You know
right
what?
here from
You're like
Sports Talk
an
117.
entertainment cockblock right here. Like,
Dixie and
terrible.
Canary. I'm going to put Canary there too. No picking on our host, the 5-time champ. So they're telling you. Here's one from Sky Sports Video News for you, Carter. It says your cardio seems amazing. Do you work out a lot? Do you work out a lot though out of the season? Like, do you spend time in the gym or doing any kind of cardio training, anything like that?
If I can be honest with my cardio of how it was from high school, I can say my cardio picked up from there, and I brought it into wrestling, and my cardio also got better with training with everybody that I trained with in the ring, with my coaches and all. They've given me good cardio, and I'm also like trying to keep it just like that too.
Okay, we got two questions, one for you, one for Ricky. We'll do Carter's first, coming up here. Mike Brooks wants to know, Carter, who is one person you wish to wrestle that you've met? So somebody you've met that you want to have a match with.
One person I got.
that you haven't had a match with, but you've met him?
Ooh, that's a good question. I've met a lot of like wrestlers, but it's got to be one. I can't remember his name. I know he's wrestled across from Texas. That 'cause me and Brooks were like homies too. So he's known who I've talked about. But one person that I wish wrestled I've met in general in particular. If I There's another name I've said, but Nick Nemeth. He's also one person I do wish I could wrestle too. Nick Nemeth, he's one of the best guys I've watched from WWE as well. From
Yeah.
WWE to
Absolutely.
TNA, always wanted to wrestle him.
Unbelievable.
So
And then Canary or Ricky, my boy. You know where that comes from when I say Ricky, my boy, right? Canary.
Shut up and get to the question.
It's an old school thing. He wouldn't know
We
that.
don't do
Was
references.
a classic promoter back in the day. Damian Thorne says, Ricky, how do you think this wrestling compares to your league in Ireland? So in other words, what we just seen with Carter.
Yeah, I can read the question. But yeah, I think it's very different. I look at so there seems to be a lot more. Well, at least how San Antonio style does it. They do a lot more outdoor shows. Um, Meanwhile, here in Ireland, because we did just whatever god there is decided he just really doesn't like Ireland, decided to just give us the worst weather possible all year round. So we couldn't do outdoor shows unless it's like a really lucky day and we praise some sort of sun ritual and get something going. But like rain all the time, so we couldn't do those kind of outdoor shows. So it's very different. And of course, I noticed a lot of the guys that they have, they're very like different style compared to our guys because obviously in wrestling styles contrast so much, it's insane, and a lot of people don't realize it. If you're watching like WWE is the best example. If you watch WWE and you see people like, for example, Finn Balor, and he's going against um let's just say Sami Zayn, right? So guy from Canada, guy from Ireland, they won't wrestle obviously the exact same style. However, Finn Balor isn't wrestling a European style. They're both wrestling North American style because that's a big thing. You have to go through a process when you should get to WWE of them trying to, make you more North American, kind of American style wrestling, which makes a lot of sense. So styles in general just so different. A lot of people don't realize the difference in styles unless you actually really look into the European wrestling compared to, North American wrestling or Japanese wrestling compared to North American wrestling. Like all very different depending on where you go. But yeah, big differences.
Yeah, and like we just learned with Daryl that I wasn't aware of, but he answered the question. Lucha Libre. Remember we were talking about left side, right side headlocks. Well, that's why, and you guys like you were trained lucha, so that's why you're on that. You're used to that other side, and Daryl pointed that out to us last show, which is kind of cool. Because I was like thinking, like I never knew that. So until he mentioned it, that there's actually two different sides, and that's got to be confusing when you go against somebody though that's been trained differently, and then all of a sudden you're doing it differently, right? You got to be prepared for that, I guess.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah, the worst kind of matches to have those where there's a complete language barrier. I always stand by. Like you can make them work, but oh my god, they're like see if I'm wrestling someone and there's a language barrier, hate to break it to you, it ain't gonna be. I'm not going for 5 star. I'm going for a decent match. I'm just going for a functioning match. I ain't doing any fancy shit. I ain't doing any compelling stuff. I'm just gonna be like, we'll do one week kind of tiny story, work at the whole match, and then we'll just have a basic match because you know it's terrible having to use Google Translate and that's not 100% accurate, or doing a game of charades to try and tell them you're trying to do a running spot or something. Disaster.
and sometimes you might forget what they said.
Exactly, exactly, and you can't call out there. You can't call. They have no idea what you're saying. It's
I mean,
awful.
there's times like I accidentally forget what they said. Well, I'll try to fix it. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned at the start, like you're very good. You admitted that you're very good at being able to pull back from any sort of mishaps or like hiccups in a match, which is
hello,
honestly like that's the
are you
hello.
guys there?
Yeah, we are here.
Yes,
Once
sir.
again, Crusher has to
Yeah,
intrude.
it disconnected. I'm sorry. I'm back.
Yeah, you just missed. It was like the best 30 seconds the show's ever had because Crusher wasn't here.
He's so jealous, Carter. I don't know what to say.
Um, yeah, you're just taking the bait, buddy. It's fishing season. But yeah, what I was saying was, having the ability to fix a hiccup in a match and smoothing it out, smoothing out the little bumps in a match is literally in my opinion, if I was in a promoter standpoint and I'm looking at it, I'm like, who do I want? That's the kind of guy I want because I'm like, no matter who I put him in with, he can make something work. He can, pull it around, and that's why people that's actually why Bret Hart got a push. He was working loads of not big names, but these big guys who they were trying to replace Hulk Hogan with, and they kept saying Bret Hart get these really good matches doing the job to these guys, but then when that person would go on and wrestle someone else, the match would be awful. And it took Vince and all the other people there so long to be like, why did these guys keep end up doing really bad after their match with Bret? And they realized it was the fact that Bret Hart made them all look really good. And I don't like watching Bret Hart. I find him very boring. I find Bret Hart as a person, eh. But I'll give him that. He was able to make anyone have a solid match. So, and that's what made him get far. So that's what's going to make anyone else get far. It's just making yourself, being able to work with absolutely anyone, be able to wrestle yourself.
And remember how Bret Hart was trained. I mean, the Dungeon Man. I mean, not anybody who came through that, in those old school training days like that, it was rough.
Oh,
And his
brutal
dad
stuff.
didn't go easy on him just because he was his dad.
There's actually a match that I never knew happened, and it came up on my Instagram feed one day, and it was the full match because it was only a 6 minute match. And I was like, this is one of the best matches I've ever watched, and it's so amazing. They did, I don't know if you just remember, and I didn't even know what happened. It was Ken Shamrock versus Owen Hart in a dungeon match. So they wrestled in the Hart dungeon and under MMA rules. And it's
Oh yeah,
so,
I've seen clips of that.
yeah,
They had some go.
they just go out there and I felt like I was watching a Dagestan MMA training session. They just went out and were taking each other down, putting on all sorts of submissions, and then they were walloping each other against the wall, striking. I was like, this is brutal. It was an insanely good match, and no one remembers it. And I was like, this is just money. Whew,
But
they
you
need more
know,
matches like that.
but Ricky, I'm like you. Bret never really did much for me. I'm not a big Bret Hart fan, necessarily. I'm not. I don't say he's bad, but to me, his character was kind of blah. Kind of
Yeah,
I
there's
don't
not
want to be
much depth.
disrespectful when I say it, but and Canada's so starving for a good athlete. Wayne Gretzky in hockey is their hero, but when you take away Wayne, who else is there? And then so I think they like to clamor to Bret, but I think Owen was better. Of the
Oh,
two.
by far, Owen
Yeah.
was so much better.
But
But
Ricky, here's a question. I'm going to bring this in from Gizmo, and I was thinking this is what I was going to hear from you. Actually, this makes sense because I was going to say this too. But it seems like your wrestling in Ireland is more technical with the moves, holds, and pins than what we just watched. Carter seems more about raw strength and high flying moves. Both are fun to watch, and I think that's the North American style is what that is, guys. And that's how we even back in the old school days is kind of how we were a little too. It was more of that, where Ricky is more of the British influence of the technical side and that.
British style.
Yep. So
Irish style.
when Ricky, speaking of Irish style, remember Crusher Crossan's newfound heritage. I realize I do have Irish in my blood, so I guess you can say the fighting Irish is in me as well.
You remember that
Maybe
thing I
I'm
said
the
at the
best.
start
Maybe I'm
about
the best Northern
Americans?
Ireland wrestler of all time, like you like to say, the OG Crush for Northern Ireland, huh?
You remember that? Remember the thing I said at the start, guys, where I said there's Americans running around who just really want to be Irish really bad. Remember that? And they bring up their heritage quizzes.
Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's in my
Makes
DNA. I
sense.
can't. I'm not choosing. I'm not
But
choosing.
yeah, when it comes to the difference in styles, I think it all comes down to the revolutionaries of the sport at the time. So I think some of the biggest revolutionaries of the sport in America were you had Buddy Rogers, you had Bruno Sammartino, Larry Zabisco, those guys who were, and Bruno Sammartino, and Gorgeous George is a perfect example of that. People don't understand the influence he had. it them
Strowman
they
was.
showmanship a big thing because America in general, from as long as I can remember, has always been about grand showcases and everything being amazing and like over the top and like wow and America, just that's literally what I think of when I think of over the top. I think America, and that's because of things like wrestling. Even look at the TV shows, look at like just the media in general, even like politicians. I'm not getting political, by the way, but just look at politicians like the likes of Obama, the likes of Trump, the likes of Kamala. They all went out and would be so like dramatic and like charismatic and out there like talking and like passionate and shouting and like waving their hands around and getting so into it. And from every part of America is passionate and charismatic. Meanwhile, over here in Ireland and the UK in general, our kind of like biggest influences when it came to wrestling, we had, and I'm about to name people that none of you guys have heard unless it's people from Keaton's channel, but you had people like Johnny Saint, you had William Regal, Finlay, right? Well known names. Owen Hart and Bret Hart actually came here a lot, mainly Owen Hart, but Bret Hart came here and there, got a lot of influence here too. We had those kind of guys who influenced us, and they were all about legit holds. We had the European catch wrestling, which evolved into this kind of wrestling, which is all about just keeping holds on, tight holds, making things
Well,
look legit.
don't forget
And
about Billy Robinson, and we know about him over here.
oh yeah, Billy Robinson,
Yeah.
unbelievable wrestler, and the founding father of wrestling in general when it came to the British style, Irish style. But yeah, it's completely like so different just for one sport, and I think we're the only, in my opinion, you don't see this kind of difference in like styles in any other sport in the world, just from country to country. No one else does it this difference. Like obviously in football, like the real football, like where you kick it and don't throw it around.
Soccer.
Um, football, you have like the difference when you see like Brazilians have that more flair. Meanwhile, like it's more likely for like the English players to be more like, I want to say gritty, but all football's like all about falling on the floor. But they're more likely to be the more simple players, like basic. We just know how to do the simple things perfect. Like that's the kind of, but
Well,
there's still
Carter
not a crazy
Carter isn't
difference.
gonna like Carter ain't gonna like me saying this, but back in the day, I was horrible at basketball, so I always referred to basketball players as dribbling idiots. But that's only because I wasn't good at it. Uh,
Yeah,
now,
I mean, I'll say I wasn't really the best at football, and not football, basketball. I
yeah,
wasn't. I was more of a defensive guy, like offense, like being on defense than like being on the offense. Like I never really shy. I just had layups or free throws. Defense was a different story. That's where I was like aggressive when it came to blocks. So everybody
but
who's like taller than me, like close to 7 foot, I'm swinging.
but if I was gonna say though, is basketball, yeah, we would give them a hard time. You never really gave anybody a hard time for soccer because the only people who played soccer were the little kids, and they played up through high school, and that was the end of it because nobody really went anywhere in soccer, um, in this country. But
Because
soccer
Americans suck at
is
soccer.
huge though in the school system and stuff. Like everybody plays. It seems like a lot of people are, especially nowadays, soccer's really taken off. But there's really no end game other than our own Super Ds in our show who went on to become professional soccer players. There's just not a lot of opportunity for that like there is say for American football or basketball. There's big careers that
It's
lots of
the thing
money.
is as well though, for I'm not super educated on like the more American sports, but from my own knowledge, you can still make money from doing like the college levels. You still like that's still
Oh
viewed.
yeah,
You get viewing.
sponsorships, endorsements, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
you get all
Yeah.
that. Meanwhile, for like real football, there isn't that stuff. It's not there. Like you have to make it pro, or you're making no money. And even if you make it pro, depending on the team, you might not make that actually that much. Like so, and it's still they'll still make a decent amount, but not compared to like NFL players.
Now,
Unless you're the best real football players, you're not going to make as much as like the NFL kind of players.
now, LA Crazy, I'm going to
It's
get to
like
your
either you go hard or go home.
LA
Yeah,
Crazy's got
exactly.
your friend LA Crazy got questions. I'm going to bring it in, but I'm going to jump to this one because it is Officer Smalls himself. How was your match last night? This is Smalls. So he wants to know how your match was last night.
Was those smalls? I would say my match last night. It was really good. With teaming with Coach Hernandez, and we faced Frito and Dean. Oh, that match, it was pretty good. I was not expecting to get myself put into those chairs though. Oh, tell you, I back up the backside of my head ran into that chair too.
Oh, you hit the
But
back of your
now
head onto a
I
chair.
didn't get thrown not once, but twice.
So you hit the back of your head on a chair then?
Oh, and it was the side of my hip that ran into it.
Okay. And LA Crazy's got several questions. Well, let's just start. He's got 3 of them, but we'll get them in here quick. He says, Carter, which aspect of wrestling do you find most challenging? Like, what part's the most challenging for you?
Most challenging.
Talking to annoying podcast hosts.
That annoying podcast also over there he's referring to.
Amateur hour. This way.
Yeah,
Ricky's
I know.
over here, so Ricky's over here.
Yeah, I know it's that way.
But the most thing to find challenging is like motivation. You gotta how you gotta at least find your motivation for it. What is, you gotta find that reason of why you're doing it and why you are having that motivation to keep going and reach it. And I've had a couple. So that's most.
Do you like do you start challenging? Like, do you set new goals for yourself constantly to try to achieve as you go through? Yeah. I've always said
when it comes to,
goals need to be unattainable because if you can reach your goals, they're really not goals. So your goals need to be out of reach, right?
Because like once you find one, you gotta find another one.
Yeah.
Like, and then Crusher's main goal for the past couple of years is to be able to get out of bed without any assistance from a cur or anything, or be able to wipe his own ass. But maybe one day.
Or just, not hurting a minor and putting him out of commission and not wrestling anymore. That can be arranged.
Yeah, shut your mouth. Get the next question in.
Speaking of the next question, we have more. LA Crazy says, Carter, what is your character development process like? How do you come up with your, character development?
The character development, it's kind of based off like me and I acted like I was a different person in football. And I brought myself that was in football to wrestling. Because in football, I talk a lot, I got going crazy, and I just love the game of it.
Did you ever talk smack? And so when you're on the line and you're facing your defense or your offense, do you ever talk smack to him before the ball's hiked?
Not really. I'll say something funny. if it's a calm game and it's relaxing, if someone asks me something, or I'll say something to them I just say anything.
So
I said something to the offensive lineman. He looked at me just confused.
And then Crazy wants to know, what are you working on improving the most right now?
Improving the most for that one, it would be improving my development, my character development, and also improve myself in the ring.
Yeah, just constantly getting better.
Everything that I've done in the ring, I get a lot of good credit about it. I know at the same time, I always got I gotta learn new tricks somewhere.
Yeah, room for improvement at any time, right?
Yes, sir.
And then we got Small's question, and then he has another one. He says, "What is your favorite match in AWR?" Which I think is that other promotion you guys work with, right? Kind of.
Yes, sir.
AWR, and your favorite match on the school shows.
School show and so with AWR, I have it tied with 3 of them. The first one is the match with me and Abigail. That match was crazy. A fatal forward that was with me, Jack Delfino, Caramel, and Coach Hernandez. At Sean Patrick's. That match was brutal. And the TikTok match with me, Officer Smalls, Sean Off versus Beautiful Bobby, and Coach Williams. Those are the 3 that they're all tied at my favorite matches because I don't think those could pop off. I don't think those could pop off that crazy anything else that I can remember. And then school shows, Um, that's a good question.
Are these like at high schools or something? Or
Oh no, it's like San Antonio style wrestling.
oh, so it's like
The
you
schools.
mean your
Oh, I
training
got one.
shows? Is that what that is?
The for the San Antonio style wrestling school shows.
Mm-hmm.
Though the one I can say with that one was me, Hillbilly, and DJ Battles versus Smalls, Coach Joey Spector, and Coach Hernandez. That 6-man tag match, it was good. It was really good. It was a minor a minor mess that happened at the ending, but uh, room for improvement that we could
Now
learn from our
I've seen
mistakes.
you in lots of tag matches. Have you had many singles matches?
I have, but I've had like sometimes like they like me in tag matches because I think it's good for me.
Sure.
Both like single and tag matches is good.
And
It's not
then
based off trust.
Gizmo has a kind of a comment for Smalls. He says, Gizmo says, Smalls, we just watched a match where you got thrown out of the ring by your head. I am a state trooper, and if you want him arrested, let me know, and I will come down there to back you up. So they got the state trooper and Officer Smalls. You got another team here teaming up. So yeah.
The state trooper and Officer Small teaming up. That's funny. Man.
By the way, Gizmo, just so you know, we're going to have Smalls on here with us, I believe,
March.
in March. Yeah, the middle of March.
I'll be
Um,
watching that one too.
yeah, he'll be coming back with us again. He really wanted to give us a little time because he wants to get some matches built up to bring with. He wants to show us some of his more recent stuff. So that should be a great show. I'm looking forward to that. Not that this one isn't. This has been a fascinating discussion. I'm all
Indeed.
caught up on comments. I'm surprised the Pipsqueak hasn't had anything more to say. I really expected him to be chirping more, but yeah, you. The canary, the Pipsqueak kid. So, oh, here comes the shades. Here we go.
I ain't gonna lie, I love the shade.
Of course you do. It's not the shades that look good, by the way, so it's a common misunderstanding. It's the guy wearing them. When you've got this absolute 6 foot stud over here with these beautiful shades on, it just adds up. You're just building it up. So that's how you get it.
I
That's how you
mean,
build
honestly,
the.
I feel like we both rock shades, man. We both have
Oh,
something in common. We both rock shades.
100%.
We both know how to kick some people.
We
So,
we would be a
We both
great
know how to
team, to
get
be
that working.
honest. You know,
well,
I
you
have
got
links to your coach. I helped bring him up through the ranks, so I could do him another favor. I've done him a lot of favors in his career. I was actually the one who set him up with TNA. Fun fact, you can go and ask him that. I spoke to management. I was like, "Here's this young kid. Little Sean would call him, and yeah, I think he could. I think he use the opportunity, and here we are. So yeah, it would make a lot of sense.
yes, the Canary Kid, ladies and gentlemen. That's one thing that I would say though that when we were talking about the differences between Europe and America, North America and British or whatever. One of the things that I've noticed with North America is we're really definitive on heels and that contrast of heels and faces. Where a heel really gets off, like getting the crowd under your skin. We're over in with the British, you guys seem to be more like technical wrestling. It's a lot like what I'm trying to say is like a manager that really gets under your skin. It's not as prevalent over there as it is here, I don't think.
No, it's actually funny you mention that. So you won't believe this, by the way. I've said it a lot. I'm actually more of a baby face a lot of the time where I
Yeah,
wrestle.
believe it or
Um,
not.
I'm sure it doesn't come to too much of a surprise to anyone. Honestly, I'm just a charitable guy who knows how absolutely amazing I am. I don't see what the issue is. But I went to Portugal there in December. It's a funny story. And if Ben's watching, I know he will be very happy to hear the story because he found it very intriguing. So we're at this show. I'm working heel. I work heel in Portugal, and the show's over, and it's a over 18 show. So I'm going over and I'm running my mouth, saying some stuff that I can't say because young Caden's watching this, and this is going on Keaton's channel. But I'm just rinsing these guys, making fun of them. And they're all laughing. They're all, "Oh, bro, you're awesome." They're all like laughing. We're all just, joking around. And then I see this other guy, and he had like longish hair and like a beard and like glasses. He looked like the average guy you would see like playing World of Warcraft kind of thing. So I was like, "Oh, perfect victim." So I go over and he's sitting there like, and they go to talk to me, and I first lay into his girlfriend for having loads of piercings, saying God forbid she walks past the magnet, the usual stuff. And then I start rinsing him. I'm just destroying him, just making fun of him. And then I walk away because these group of people want a photo with me. And then I come back and I say, all right, so back to what we were saying. What happened? What caused the phobia of shampoo? What went wrong? And this dude, I mean, got so angry. He turned to me. He's like, dude, I'm the last guy you want to mess with. I'll kick your ass. You want to go outside, bro? I'll kick your ass. You say that one more time. And I just look at him going, bro. I just kept saying, bro, come on. Look, shake hands, hug it out. Come on, 10 minutes. He's like, no, don't F with me, saying all this stuff. I'm like, bro, come on. And he stormed away, refused to look at me. He was furious. And that's why I don't think I'm allowed to be healed. I I clearly take it too far, or I'm just taking the wrong victims. But I enjoy heal too much sometimes, and I know. Funny enough, the main guy who got pissed off at me for that whole situation was actually DD Crooks, the main heel from our place.
Why you took the heat from him?
Oh, I took heat because he seen it as I don't think he liked
Stole
the
his
fact.
heat.
It wasn't that I stole his heat, and he had a point. He was like, you have to watch. You can't be saying some stuff because fans not take it right, and
That's
stuff might
true.
happen. De-escalate, and I'm like, yeah, fair enough. But I just think the guy was a pussy, to be completely honest.
But there's
But
some people, you're going to offend people sometimes. It just happens. It's just the way it is.
oh yeah, 100%. But if you don't want to get made fun of, don't look like a World of Warcraft player. That's what I'm saying.
There's always gonna be times like people like insults will like some people will take it personal, some people will take it like they're like very furious about it. At the end of the day, you just gotta swipe it away, man.
The
Oh yeah,
worst of it is when the boys take it personal. Like you're in there doing your heel work to your opponent, and he comes back and says, "You know what? I don't like the way you said about me. I'm not that bad." Come on, dude. This is a work.
I've never had that, to
It's
be
worth
fair.
it.
I've never had that issue.
Sid Vicious did that to Bobby Heenan once because Heenan said, "You're not the sharpest fork in the drawer. It should be knife, right?" Heenan just making it look stupid. And then Sid Vicious comes back and says, I didn't appreciate that. I'm an intelligent person. Okay.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, sometimes the guys get offended. I don't know if it happens in the indie scene as much, but
It probably does. Not at our place, not anywhere I've been. I've never had a guy say, "Hey, I didn't like what you said about me out there." But
well,
no, everywhere else.
sometimes Ricky, you get real edgy with your stuff, and I've even asked you. I said, "Did you go over that with Nathan?" Or and
It's
you
Nathan's the
know,
perfect example because, right, I'm gonna say Nathan gave me kind of a heads up, but deep down I feel like I would have said it even if we didn't have this conversation. Um, But he had a conversation with me. So me and my coach, when we were going into this rivalry, it wasn't meant to be a rivalry, by the way. We were meant to have a match, but as I was saying, he had to pull out one day, and it just started into a feud of him ducking me every show. Um, and basically, what I did was he said to me before, and he goes, "You have complete control over what happens in this storyline. I'm going to trust you with this." He goes, "I feel like you could pull something off this." I was like, "All right, I'll give it a go." He goes, "I want to see what you do." And I just got a mic after my match where I beat the guy he put me against, and his wife was pregnant at the time, and I just let into his daughter who was about to be born. I just started saying, how does it feel your daughter is growing up with an absolute pussy of a
being a
father?
being a
I was
coward.
I said, "You're not a real father." I said, "And your wife sits at home, she's disappointed in you." And then the next show, he was sitting beside his wife at the back, not wrestling. I said, "Oh, so you're hiding behind your pregnant wife?" I said, "If it wasn't for her, I'd slap the head off you and make her watch." I was rinsing him every show. I was getting so dark with it. And he was coming back like, "Bro, that was awesome. That was good. I like what you did there." Like, I was like, perfect. I'm like, I love it. Because I know he would be the kind of guy who just wouldn't give a shit. He's like, huh. I feel like if I legitimately like drop kicked his daughter for a segment, he'd be like, huh, that's good. So I honestly feel like he's the kind of guy. Nathan's the perfect guy to have a storyline with. And I was thinking about this recently. Nathan, best guy when it comes to anything creatively that we've done. We know how to get good stories, and both of them have been two very different ones. Our first ever one, I was less than a year in, and I just tapped out the show before to an outside talent from Portugal, and Nathan was the ref. And we did a whole thing at the end where he just looked at me, shook his head, and said, "You gave up on this place," like, you know. And I walked away in shame. Said next show, he said, "You're never going to get another opportunity at this place unless you prove it tonight." And then we did. Me and him and the crowd were crazy for it the whole night. Only 60 people in attendance, but because of a small compact place, they were going insane for it. And we just know how to work it. We just know how to have fun with our stuff. So yeah, I can get twisted with my promos, but a lot of the time I just choose the right person to say it with. If it's just some random bloke, I'm not just going to start ripping into their whole family tree. But, you know,
And
right person.
here's a question from Crazy again for you, or wait, no, she's just saying. She says, "I don't know, Crazy. Please tell Crusher I'm a girl." Okay.
Oh yeah, LA Crazy is one of my friends.
Okay, so somebody you know. All right, and then
Yeah.
Mike Brooks says, "Carter, who is your biggest supporter?"
The man who just texted it, Mike. But I know there's a lot more people who are also like big supporters too, and I can't thank everybody who is supporting me about it, especially Brooks himself.
So
I've known him since high school, so we've known each other for 4 years, and he's also supported me for the rest of.
So that's another one, you know. And then Sky Sports Video News wants to know, Carter, do you plan on going to college while pursuing wrestling, or are you just working on wrestling?
I'm just working on wrestling now. I was like trying to do like for football. I was trying to do like see if I can get any college offers. Then if not, then I'm gonna pursue wrestling like I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
During that time, things weren't how I thought it was. I had a little bit, but things didn't go well. So I just yeah, I think wrestling would be better for me than trying to go to these college
Well,
football.
just to put it in perspective,
they wouldn't have got me.
Just to put it in perspective, the chance in football to make it to the NFL, people don't realize how difficult and just a slim chance that is. There's only like just a sliver of people that make it from all the colleges, right? When you look at it in perspective, and so it's not an easy path.
I'll put it like this as well. Like I'm 6'2", I was 185 at the time. So coaches, when they see that, they're like, "Ooh, he's going to get killed on the line." I don't think we can think we're gonna believe that he's.
Yeah, I know it's a tough road to climb for that, and as tough as wrestling is, American football is even harder for that. You know, to get through all that. So, and I think Mike Brooks is asking a question. I think you already answered, Carter, and that is, why didn't you pursue football or the track offer you had? I didn't hear about the track offer.
There was I did I will say I did have an offer. Track I didn't know until I got told the last second after I made my decision. Football, it was just the college that picked me up. I went to their like spring ball game and everything. Everything was fun to the spring ball game, and then how much discipline was. My most thing is it's discipline that has got me going. And if the team doesn't got that discipline by how my coach told me, I'm not gonna be because those coaches were letting them do whatever they want. I'll be honest, I'm not gonna have hate for that team, but I'll say like I've looked up their schedule. They did bad. Spring ball game, their offense was killed back to back every single time. So it's just like, I mean, if their defense is gonna go well like that, then why do they need me? Especially everything that I've seen, it wouldn't have got me anywhere.
But you know, so you're not in the NFL or anything like that, but you played football. It's funny, you know, it's interesting how, you know, we've had a lot of football players that have crossed into wrestling, right? At some level in football, right? Look at Goldberg, Atlanta Falcons. I could go on and on. Wahoo McDaniels back in my day, he played for I think 7 different NFL teams. So like, you know, yeah, there was a lot of crossover throughout history. And I think that goes the same with a lot of other sports too. That's why you have like Ken Shamrock. We talked about him earlier. He came from MMA, and you know, you were talking earlier too, Carter, about, you know, how you know it's wrestling's a rough bit. You know, pro wrestling, this is rough. This is tough, and you can get hurt. And Ken Shamrock is the biggest person there that will tell you that he said he got hurt more in pro wrestling than he did MMA. You know,
I'll even put up. There's no guarantee, like no debate about it. I felt more like having bumps and bruises or having the way I or me being sore in football. I've taken a ton of hits. I've gotten blindsided. I've gotten the wind knocked out of me during a game. I've even gotten like had my neck so sore during the game because I kept getting hit too many times during the playoff. But I can't compare any of that to how everything's been around. I've even gotten like stunned like 3 times if I go crazy.
Yeah. Canary, I'm waiting for your chirping here. I'm not hearing it yet.
So when are you gonna stop beating that dead animal with a stick?
Wow, you talking about the dead canary? That
No, I'm
hasn't
talking about your
happened.
dead ass joke.
I mean, I thought that was, the canary kid. You know, I think of another bird, Carter, when I think of canary. It's the chicken. The bird that can't fly. You don't have to clip the chicken's wings; they're already clipped more or less.
You know what you remind me of? A
Your
cock.
your idol. You know what I was gonna say, canary? I was finally dawned on me. We're talking about how you're afraid to get in the ring with Crusher, and even though your coach might make that happen, you won't have a choice. But you know why you're afraid? I think it is because I'm his idol, Carter. He looks up to me. He's trying to do my drop kick and everything. I'm the Canary Kid's idol, and I think it's kind of like The Empire Strikes Back. You don't want to face when Luke found out that Darth Vader was his father. Not that I'm your father, because
Spoiler alert.
I disown you.
Jesus,
But
spoilers.
it's like you can't face the person that
Not
you
necessary.
idolize. That's what
Not
it is, isn't it?
necessary.
Is that what it is?
The fact you made a Star Wars joke and
It
you're
wasn't a
sitting here with lots
joke.
of wrestling belts
No.
behind you
It wasn't
just
a.
makes you look like the biggest dweeb right now.
It wasn't a
Um,
joke. It was a
so I'm going
comparison.
to unengage from this conversation. Oh, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Princess Leia. I don't want to hear about Luke Skywalker trying to get out with his sister. I don't know what weird stuff you get into watching, but I personally would rather not watch that stuff. All right, I just
I'm
was
probably,
never really my
I'm probably
thing.
gonna get a ton of hate, but I haven't watched Star Wars in a minute. I have a lot of friends who do, but probably gonna get a lot
I've
of
never
hate.
watched it. Never watched it. Hated every second of it when I tried.
Now you've never
Like
seen a Star
I've seen
Wars?
clips of it, but not the whole movie.
Wow. You guys
Yeah,
are missing a whole cult culture.
yeah, Orlando
That's like,
dweebs.
and I'd probably forget it if I watch them.
I
Um,
will.
he- Here's a question. Um, Actually, I'm going to bring Damien's in first. Have either one of you ever been knocked out in a practice or in a match?
No, almost,
Nope.
but no.
All I can say is I've only been stunned for the most times I've slightly hit my head if I'm from impact. But
How did that happen?
knocked out
What move was that where you got the stun or the stinger?
getting stunned.
Yeah.
It just depends on like how my impact. Like I remember I took there was a double clothesline with me and somebody else, and we swung hard at each other. And of how we both hit each other, it wasn't like our swing. It was how we both landed.
Yeah.
Oh,
We both hit the ring
I've
hard.
done the same exact thing. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I know exactly how it felt. So I know what you're
Because
saying.
like every
Yeah.
time I've gotten stunned was the amount of times I've slammed the back. I actually slammed the back of my head. Because training, there was a time where I was doing a move from the corner. I rolled back, boom, hit the mess up, and there was exposed where I hit it.
The trouble with
So
a
that
double
got me good.
clothesline is your arm's tied up in the clothesline itself. So when you do the double clothesline, you only have one arm to break the fall. And then
Oh
you
yeah.
can yeah. So I know what
For
you're
me,
saying.
I'm just like letting my body just make impact. I'm not even just like bracing myself. I'm like bracing myself, but I'm not like scared. Like, oh, I'm gonna hit the mat hard. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to hit that mat. Do it.
Yeah. And then sports videos asking Ricky and Carter, when are your next matches scheduled for? So what's next? When's your next show? I know you guys had one last night,
Yes, sir. And we have one coming up on February 15th for AWR,
Valentine's Day
and then
weekend.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
That one's gonna be a fun.
Yeah.
yeah, and of course, my next match, as you all know, because who doesn't keep up with the Canary Kid, you'd have to be some schmuck living under a rock or a Star Wars fan. Either one, just as bad. But my next match is scheduled for the 8th of February, where me and the greatest tag team partner of all time and one half of the greatest tag team in Northern Irish wrestling history, John McCann, take on some random Hollywood geezers from another promotion. These guys are known as the Stars Aligned. Never heard of them, nor do I really care. I saw that it's some sort of cool video trying to, oh, look at us, trying to leech off the name value of Next Level, but that ain't going to work. They still on level 1.
Is Canary Kid going to be a force to reckon with in that match, or is John McCann going to do cleanup?
Canary Kid is the force just in general, and I don't mean the force as in the whole, Luke, I'm your father.
Well, all I know is John
Not that kind
McCann
of way.
carried the damn match. And if it wasn't for John, you guys would have lost because you kept getting beat up through the whole damn thing.
Yeah, do you want to stop talking? All right, I'm, the big main guy's trying to speak here, not you. But yeah, so me and John McCann, we're gonna, put some stomping in some boys and show we're the greatest tag team in Northern Ireland and can't be debated.
I don't know. I think Dead Gorgeous
I'll
might have
say
to
one.
say about the greatest tag team.
If there was like, kid, I'll be honest, man. If we ever were to step in the ring together, I would happily have a match with you, brother. Who knows how crazy that would go.
I would happily have a match with someone like CC Carter because he's a true
Excuse
professional.
me, but Carter was talking to Crusher Crossen. What are you? He said he'd gladly have a match with me.
I don't care what he said. I'm talking about
Canary
me.
Kids likes to try to steal the show. But okay, I guess I could see that too. And you know what, Carter? I would actually pay for it. Get Canary Kid in a match and make sure you do the drop kick. And for me, just put him out. Shut that Northern Ireland mouth up of his for us. That would be great.
Like, the thing is, everything that Carter knows, I already taught his coach. I taught Sean Hernandez everything he has to know.
Gosh, it's a good thing Hernandez. It's a good thing we weren't on a Thursday and we're at the training center, and Hernandez would be in the back there, and then he would be.
Of course, he would have been here. His heroes here, so of course Hernandez would have been here.
I don't know, man. Off the Smalls, though, he's a tricky little one. You never know what he's gonna do.
Officer Smalls, yeah, this little guy.
He's trained by Coach Sean,
but on a serious note, you guys, though, I think that would be cool to see, like, to have you guys be able to have a match because two different styles, trained differently, to be able to meet up in the ring. That's a great experience in this for you guys in the indie business to meet up with people you haven't been in the ring with outside, the normal guys that you keep working with all the time. So that's always cool.
Down the scene.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, so I mean, I kind of starting to get to the end of our show, guys. So I mean, thanks for everybody for bringing the comments in and stuff. Carter, did we get to everything? Is there anything else you wanted to make sure we covered that we not talk about anything?
Seems like we got everything up.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. I mean, on seeing the matches and stuff, and I know we had some trouble getting some of the footage, but we got it, so we made it work out. I'm really looking forward to seeing Smalls in March. He's very humble last time. I'm kind of hoping when we get Smalls again, he might come out of his shell a little bit, and we'll see the character Officer Smalls a little bit.
And all I'm saying is this, Ricky, be ready, Officer Small. He's in my opinion, when he talks, he's like a menace. When he's talking mess about us, he gets us good. Even I'm not expecting what comes out of his mouth. And I'm older than him, and I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I respect the police and I respect the uniform and everything they do. So I don't think me and Small should have a problem. And if we do have some sort of problem, he may start using his right to remain silent because we'll have a problem and it won't be good for him.
And one of these, eventually too, we always try to double back with guys. Like maybe in time, Carter, will try to have you come on again as well, and see what you're up to and see how things are going and, and see what the latest is. We always like to do that, just to see how guys are progressing along, So,
I would be happy to do that.
Yeah, because it's been fun. And we had lots of people chiming in questions. We had some of your friends on here as well. We had our regulars. I mean, I can't. I think I've not seen. This is the most comments I've had come in on a Forward show in a long time. Like we've had a
Yeah.
lot of comments coming in.
No, we've had a
So
lot of interaction.
yeah, it's been a good one. And the whole point of Forward is, when we do Rewind, we always look back at us, but Forward's about you guys, about looking ahead and seeing what's happening in wrestling. Where are the young guys getting involved in this? How are they starting out and everything? So that's what it's all about.
Yep.
So it's been a great show. Um, so Carter, thanks for joining us and stuff. Feel free to hang out if you want, but I got to go to a different screen here because we're going to talk about what's coming up on the future shows. So, but it's been fascinating having you on here. Great guest and everything.
I had a blast. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Great having you on.
Yeah, it's been fascinating discussion. And and thanks for all the comments for everybody too. So we're going to jump to this screen, Ricky, because I want to talk about the future shows coming up here on all of our other, like we do on all our podcasts. So
Perfect.
what we got coming up, I always like to put this one in because it's always, I act like it's a mistake, but it's really not. It's just, I don't want to delete it. I like that picture. But let's see, what do we got next? The next show with Keaton is this coming Sunday, February 2nd, and it's Johnny Palmer, The Necessary Evil. Are you familiar with this guy, Ricky?
Yeah, I met Palmer at a show a while ago. Nice guy. Really nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's Keaton says he's kind of I don't know, I can't remember how he described him, but he said he's, a little bit later than say Marty Jones. But
yeah, he's a good bit later than Marty.
Yeah. And I don't know, CWA, are you familiar with that league? That's what it says on his belt.
Nope. No, not familiar.
If that's in Europe or not.
But no, it's probably England. There's a lot of places in England.
Yeah. So anyways, this is coming up on Sunday, February 2nd, just a few days. And then the next, what would be next? I guess Rewind. Our next Rewind is going to be the Studio Taping 40. This is, we're going to one of the garage shows. The last time we were in the studio. I know the guys like the Group W studio stuff, but at least with the garage, the wrestling itself starts picking up a little bit more. These are the shoot title match days and stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's interesting time period for the league.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming up on Thursday with Dixie Dave will be back and is trying to be a heel like this Canary does. I can't stand it. But Dixie Dave, yep. Just so disrespectful, you guys. And then our next show, Ricky, you and I, Forward, we got this guy, CJ Quinn, Primos Premier Pro Wrestling. And he is, we kind of learned about him when we talked to Daryl, right? Went through the training, junior training at first, and he was on into the regular training. And he's basically just kind of starting out and stuff. And
yep,
we're going to have some matches and stuff to watch of him. And, he's super excited for this. I'm looking for it. This will be another great discussion again.
Oh, yeah.
Learn about what he's all about. And another one that's kind of in your shoes, Ricky, right? Just starting out young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's
for sure.
You like people like you and Carter, and this is the whole point of Forward. So that'll be a great show. So there we have it. One thing I was going to say, Ricky, before we go off, I mentioned it on Keaton's show. I think, you got Wrestling Revolution Keaton just idolizing you all of a sudden, putting you on some kind of pedestal over there in Northern Ireland. He thinks you're like a god. And I'm thinking to myself, sounds to me like ever since you got on Keaton's case for not doing those line of questioning that you didn't like way back when, I think you're kind of threatening him. I think you become the bully of Belfast, if you will. I think you're the new bully now, and you're bullying this young man. And now he's scared, and so he's saying all these things to make you sound good. That's what I think is happening.
Oh, no, I think you're very wrong. I think you're just delusional, asking himself. A lot of respect to me and Keaton. He just knows talent when he sees it.
But I inspired him first, and now he's throwing that out the window. So, kind of disrespectful, I would say.
Nothing to respect.
Yes, kind of getting a little disrespectful. I guess it's catching over there. You've rubbed off on Dixie Dave. You've rubbed off on Keaton. What the heck's going on here? The only one who's sensible is Ben Nelson. Badass Ben Nelson. So, there's that.
Don't even get me started on Ben.
Well, he did this great artwork, and I love it. I love this shirt. My favorite shirt.
That you stained it?
You had to bring that up, didn't you? You just had to bring that up.
Don't stain it then. That's the only issue I have.
Yeah, we need to stain use what we need to stain. And Carter sounds like he'd be happily to get in the ring with you. How would you feel about a CC Carter versus Canary Kid match?
Well, I feel like it would actually be a worthy opponent, unlike the pensioners that usually seem to be offering me matches. So, I'd be down.
What about Smalls?
Smalls, not a worthy opponent. However, I don't know how I'd feel attacking a police officer because I respect the law. Though maybe we could run it by Officer Smalls how many years I would get for assaulting a senior citizen.
Well, you first have to assault the senior citizen.
It wouldn't be too difficult.
And that I'd like to see. Because everybody knows it ain't going to be that easy. Like I told Keaton, you're sitting there chopping him hard and you're getting all this work. Terry, you did that to me. You try to corner me in the corner. Goodbye. Because you would just be flying on the back of your head in the middle of the ring. Ain't going to happen.
Sure thing, pal.
Why? Because I'm 5-time. All right, folks. I had to get a little schooling in on Ricky. It's fun. I have to school him here and there. So that's the way it goes on Forward, right?
Oh, yeah.
So with that, everybody, we'll let you go. We will be back. Like I said, I'll be back on Sunday here with Keaton. And then next week with Dave. And again in 2 weeks with the Canary Kid with our guest CJ Quinn. Should be a great one.
All right.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in.